And Australia without rugby league is not Australia. Rugby league has been a fabric of our society for hundreds of years. It's people's escape, it's people's relaxation, and we need to do everything in order to continue that great tradition of rugby league.
It has been those Australians who have worked hard every day. They have their dreams, they have their aspirations. These are the quiet Australians who have won a great victory tonight.
Kris, we talk about the quiet Australians, and the quiet Australians obviously want progress, they want innovation, they want forward thinking, they want movement, they want action, they want to get out of this damn state we're in. And of course, we as rugby league fans are led by an overlord, the Count, some people call him, PVL, others call him, who has always been looking forward, a progressive thinker. Denis, we are beaten to the punch by the South Korean Football League this week coming up, where they're going to break ground first. They're going to be the ones putting that shovel in the soil, just starting live sport back as the first code in the world. How does that make you feel?
Well, beaten by South Korea, dreadful business. And the Bundesliga in Germany as well. They're starting up as well.
We're third in line.
We're third in line, but I think South Korea also has baseball. So there's baseball, the South Korean soccer, and I think we'll deal with the South Koreans a bit later with their entertainment. But we have been beaten. Rugby league, and I'm sure Peter Volandis, PVL, the Count, the overlord, won't be pleased with that.
Is that down to hygiene? Have they got better hygiene in South Korea than we have here in Australia?
Maybe they're more desperate.
Is that right? Or dangerous?
They wanted it more.
They wanted it more. Is that possible?
It can't be possible.
I don't know about hygiene. I mean, South Korea was incontrovertibly changed by the 1988 Olympic Games.
Absolutely.
Because that was the first country who realised that when you have a home games, find sports that no one's good at and you'll get yourself a bag of gold medals, right?
Yes.
In 1976, Canada hosted the Olympic Games in Montreal. How many gold medals did they win? 0, right? South Korea bagged 7 in sports like badminton, taekwondo, these...
Creativity at work, Kris. Innovation.
Exactly, right? And they got the country looking spick and span, hence they've got back to sport quickly, because what we're all forgetting here, and what really sticks in Volandis' craw, because it's always a debate, are we an innovator or a fast follower? And Volandis would hate to be accused, Overlord Volandis, of being a fast follower, but they played football continuously in Belarus right through the pandemic.
Is that right?
Yeah, they never stopped.
Yep.
So pioneers... Germany, sure.
And
South Korea, yes. Rugby league, not so much.
And we're not even talking about North Korea.
Well,
we don't even know what's going on there.
No, they don't have the virus.
No virus.
No, there's no virus at all.
No report of it.
And Kim Jong-un is not dead, and he's been at the fertiliser factory, opening fertiliser factories to prove that he's not dead.
And kicking a footy at the same time.
And kicking a footy at the same time, and playing rugby league.
And like Castro, like they said, you can see he's got some sort of mark or indicator on his wrist or a tattoo which is emblematic of some form of heart surgery.
Oh.
No, I've had heart surgery and got nothing here.
No signs at all.
But like Castro, the concern is that Kim Jong-un's sister will make Kim look like a progressive when she gets the reign. So long may he reign. That's all I can say.
Afraid. Now, what happened in Seoul was the club FC Seoul, of course, this week were caught out. Well, they weren't caught out. They were trying something very imaginative, I think, and they wanted to address this situation of bringing sport back into stadiums without the atmosphere. Now,
so there's no crowds.
No crowd. Dennis,
No.
you work in an environment like that as an audio enhancer.
Yeah, no crowds.
Sorry, I thought you were talking about rugby league, the musical. No crowds.
No crowds at all.
No crowds. And therefore, my job is completely untenable. Where there's no crowd, there's no music.
No, well, the
Unless it's
rugby
pumped
league,
in
the rugby league still has when they had the crowdless round 2,
they
still had DJs.
That's
and it
not
was
a DJ, though, Dennis.
No,
That's
it
not
wasn't.
someone who responds to the situation on the run.
But there's none of those in rugby league. They're all just programmed. They're all pre-programmed, pressing play and apple. Apart from the master.
But so the master,
like Rose.
I was going to say hello to Andrew Rose right
Rose,
now. Yeah.
He's just sitting there. He's got iTunes. He's eating his snakes and he's eating watermelons. And he's just pressing play
that I've
now
not
and
seen
again.
behind the scenes with Andrew Rose. Is it?
Love you,
What
Rose.
sort of mess does he leave behind?
No, he's very tidy.
Very tidy.
He's
right.
very tidy.
Anyway, FC Seoul came out with this idea of putting some mannequins, as they say.
Fashion mannequins.
Yeah, and And many people have, well, we look at the coloured seats. That suggests more people than what the eyes can detect.
They do that at the Gabba. Don't you always turn on the cricket at the Gabba and you go, oh, they got a... Oh, no, it's just coloured seats.
It was much better before HD TV.
Yeah.
Because it was just a blend of all these different
Now,
colours.
what's that dastardly English bowler that did harm to our Steve Smith?
The
Jofra
West Indian
Archer.
bowler.
Now,
The dastardly West Indian
The
bowler.
West Indian for England.
Yeah, he's not even in English. He's West Indian.
He's a ringy.
They literally changed
just
the
to bring him
rules
in.
to allow him to
It's
play.
not even bodyline.
He shouldn't be playing
It's headline.
for England yet.
Right.
But they changed the rules
We
to
knew
get
he
him
was
in for the
Dick
World Cup
Dastardly,
and the
didn't we?
Ashes. Oh, absolutely.
He, though, has suggested, of course, that he would love to play cricket with some, well, as you would if you were in cricket because they've got no crowds anyway, some crowd noises. So
Right.
I get this sort of idea, searching for entertainment by any means necessary. Now, the South Koreans, some junior made a booking and went to mannequins looking up sort of blow-up dolls to make them lighter, and lo and behold, they got what were considered to be sex dolls.
Yes, that's correct.
Mistakenly, of course. But I looked at the pictures, Dennis. Now, you've been to Asia. You've seen what, J-pop, K-pop, etc.
That's exactly what I've been to Asia, and Hornsby has a couple of wonderful Korean restaurants.
Do they,
And
yeah?
there's one in the city as well, which we often go to, and they've
What,
got
Chinese and
K-pop.
Australian meals?
Both.
They call that fusion.
The RSL club as well. But they have, there's K-pop in the background. And the K-pop, what I see in K-pop, I saw in the grandstand.
Yes,
It just didn't, I couldn't.
The only issue, I think, is that there's only one gender it would appear represented. So there are only female blow-up, quote-unquote, sex dolls. To me, they look like K-pop superstars.
Yeah, are you confident about it? Because I tune into Pop Asia on SBS all the time.
Yes, you do.
And I think you've described the performing artists, be they BTS or Kara or whoever, as gender fluid.
Gender fluid. Look, when I was in Shinjuku in Japan, all the posters of all the performers, I don't know what they did, what their performance actually was. You could not tell what their gender was. And I think that's a sign for the future, Chris.
One of the things I want to do, Stephen, in building on that is, I do have an interest in all forms of music.
You do.
And
No one's ever questioned that, Chris.
there is a performing troupe in Tokyo in the J-pop oeuvre called AK-47.
Is that right?
And
novel.
At any point in time, there are 47 members of the group.
Yeah.
And they're like a residency. They perform each weekend in Tokyo, and over time, the membership have changed. I want to go.
Dare I question you, what was the name of the great, was it Mexican concept where the band, once they got to 16, had to be thrown out?
Oh, Menudo.
Put into a mince
Menudo.
pita?
Yeah, they were literally the Logan's Run of
They never be
teenage
seen
pop.
again once they hit 16. And didn't they dance and perform well?
And was Ricky a graduate of Menudo? Have I got that wrong, Ricky Munn?
I think he was. He escaped. He's a refugee, isn't he? He wanted status in America.
Michael
so
York,
get out.
Jenny Agutter, and Ricky Martin. Who would have thought? Can I say about the dolls?
Yeah.
Because I've investigated as well, like you, I've looked at the pictures.
Yeah.
And the particular doll goes by the moniker of BJ Sherrero, and I think the emphasis would there be on BJ.
BJ, that's a type, is it? Because I imagine
now
they
playing for the Tigers.
Yeah, BJ Sherrero, that's right.
BJ Lalua.
Or yes, well, this
Just
is...
before you go on, boys, Stephen, you
Oh,
grabbed
he
Chris's
did grab
you
my
grabbed
wrist.
Chris's
Look at
hand.
that.
Would you mind awfully just putting a bit of Dettol on your hand and just sanitising? We are social distancing.
This is
responsible here at Quiet Australians.
Isn't this a good interlude to say that we're thrilled to be back at the Batuta Advocate / Budgie Smuggler Studios,
Yes.
live-ish.
Make sure there's no sponsors' names because we're not
Gotcha.
endorsed.
Now look at that
but-
picture, Dennis. Look at that picture. That's a picture from South Korea.
That's right.
Some are redheads, some are blonde, some are dark. So
But-
they obviously came in different models, Chris.
But they're-
And they've got clothes on. They're well dressed. This is fine for the kids.
My
There's
understanding
nothing
is they're just different. You and
Same
I
model.
we would have had a Captain Action, and you could put different outfits on. You would have had Barbie the same.
Yeah.
And
Change
I had G.I. Joe.
Yeah, right. So they're
I
all
actually gave G.I. Joe. He had a mohawk, and I made him punk G.I. Joe.
not unlikely you look like right now, Dennis.
He didn't have this.
But I think they're all BJ Sherro in different outfits, right?
Fair enough.
So.
Same
I've
model.
had a look at the pictures. I've been on the website repeatedly.
Yes.
$2.99 Australian.
Credit card?
Yeah, that's right. $2.99 Australian plus delivery.
Wow.
And I think, Dennis, you struck on something really important because we are, believe it or not, less than 2 weeks away from Resumption Day.
Oh, there it
Is the word of this year has to be repurpose.
Yeah.
Let's get Overlord Volandis to put in for, I don't know, 2 scores worth of, if not 2 gross worth
Yes.
of BJ Sherros, but repurpose them for the Australian rugby league market
Aussie
and
style.
call them Joey Sherrero.
Right.
Joey Sherrero.
Well, this is my next
Yep.
question, Chris and Dennis. If you were going to have localised versions, if you were going to have, for example, a Southern American gridiron team, what would their character doll be in the crowd? It would be sort of a Confederate flag and a guy with a shoddy, long moustache and a beard.
A bit like Dennis looks like right now.
Listens to Lynyrd Skynyrd, and they're not all rednecks, but that's the look.
Kid Rock.
Yeah.
Kid Rock.
Robert E.
exactly.
Lee.
If you were in Great Britain, you'd have some slightly pasty, pink-faced,
Boris.
chubby guy eating chips.
Boris. Boris
So, are
dolls.
you talking
Boris.
so these are the sex dolls they use?
That's correct.
Repurposed. So you go back to the fact and say, I want to repurpose them from our audience,
Yes.
So the Aussie audience is different to South Korea, different to China, different to wherever. So I'm suggesting that if they were K-pop stars, then you could have, for example, The Voice. Who are those people in The Voice?
Well, Overlord Volandis is got a Mind Awards cross promotion all the time, and of course, Rugby League Channel 9,
yes.
that extension is about to happen. So you would repurpose the dolls. You'd have your Gildrams,
Fantastic.
your Sebastians,
Yes.
your Boy Georges,
Boy George Doll. There's got to be one of those already.
no Jonases, and Kelly Rowland.
Right. So you've sort of got a mixed bag there, haven't you? You're inclusive, sexually speaking.
Yes.
Gender and skin colour.
Yeah, so
that would be.
We wouldn't put Amy Shark. I know she's not from The Voice, but
Can you imagine the first game at Bank West though? Every second seed or third seed is Boy George. Every
Yes.
fifth is Kelly Rowland. Then you've got Delta Goodrum. Imagine the fights. I don't want to sit next to Boy George. I don't want to sit next to Delta, or vice versa.
do the seats swivel? Could they actually have Delta sitting facing up, and then there's something? I like that. That's
can
a
the arms
try.
move too?
What is interesting is, of course, you probably want to have that mixture of dolls representing celebrities, cross-promoting brands, but you also want fans, right? Fans want to see themselves.
Yes.
So I think if you did import the Joey Guerrero sex dolls and you wanted them for South's games, like South's fans, the dolls are great because they've got no teeth.
So you got the fat old bloke
Perfect.
that's continually shouting, "Get him on side." Right? They've been doing it all day, ref, that sort of thing, right? So they got press buttons, automated.
Would that not come down to the DJ? Should you not just have two buttons there?
Yeah.
Doing it all day.
Yeah. Get him on
Get him on
side,
side.
ref.
Doing it all day.
He's
Get
got a
him on
wife,
side.
Yeah, he's got all that stuff,
I've never heard that yelled at a rugby league game. What's the context?
Well, at least he'd be lying on top of another bloke. He's got a wife,
What about the kids?
the kids, and they're watching. For God's sake.
That just seems too sensitive for rugby league, doesn't it? Thinking about the extended family of the player being laid on in the tackle.
I've heard he's got a mother. I've heard that but that's when someone's abusing a referee. He's got a mum, I haven't heard got a wife.
No, what I'm saying is taken,
Yeah, it's a different angle.
Yeah, exactly. We applaud you, South Korea, and nothing to apologise as far as I'm concerned. But what happens with the doll? I mean, who's the person who's got to click the dolls at the end of the
Well,
game?
can you imagine the sanitising?
I know. I mean, really, where do they go?
Well, I imagine you do a deal with a car wash, right? You just put them on the hooks,
Hose them off.
and in they go.
You just pick them up. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Or do you just take him to the bubble afterwards?
And there'd be no need. I think the thing about this is there's longevity in these assets because there's no need. If you've been watching empty stadium bar for the BJ/Joey Guerrero dolls for 3 or 4 months, there's no way you want to go back to Leichhardt Oval or Cogra Jubilee without the dolls being there.
And also, who are the most cash-strapped teams in this country?
Sharks.
Okay. Imagine the Sharks decide they're not going to wash them. They're just going to leave them in situ, right? And then you come back 4 weeks later and they're slightly deflated. They're a bit crinkly.
just like a typical Sharks fan.
Exactly. What would a shark doll look like? Just like that.
Hello, Brendan Cowell.
Just hairy, fat, nondescript, chip-eating bit. Oh, no grog from next door, Dan Murphy's, right? Don't even think about it. Right. So the dolls will be sober. Well, that's great. What else could we do for entertainment in rugby league? And I've got a lot of ideas here.
Have you spoken to Peter Volandis about this?
It's obviously that's the direction he's going, and it's a slap in the face for me when he's last year's grand final was one of the least entertaining games anyone's ever seen, and there I was playing the music. There's nothing wrong with Benny Hill being played when the mascots are running. There's nothing wrong with horses being performed again by Daryl. Nothing wrong with that, I say. And Kiss Cam, Dance Cam,
even horses being performed by Daryl, because he was cut off. He was cut off last year. That was an absolute balls up.
I know, that was the highlight, wasn't it?
It is
looking for more though.
It is a problem, isn't it? Because let's face it. You threw them when you played that Earth, Wind and Fire stuff from
in the stone.
But it was Roosters and Raiders, so you were you're under starters' orders already. How good was it going to be? But
and it was downhill after the Viking clap.
That's true.
After you had Big Mel blowing the horn.
Dennis, I'm with you on that one.
But are you taking umbrage at Overlord Volandis' quote this week, Stephen, which is, our job is to make the game entertaining. Yeah. At the moment, like it or not, it is not entertaining.
Well, so he says, and he's a Johnny-come-lately. Has he been watching the games for the last, 40, 50 years?
Well, I was labouring under the misconception that I was enjoying myself, but have I got this wrong?
You have got it wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not entertaining at all. You've been very bored.
Is that right?
But-
thus far, yeah, you have to redefine yourselves
But if
here.
the dictator comes in and says it's not entertaining, you go, yes, sir, of course, sir, we'll do something about it, sir. So I'm suggesting, for example, there's no people in the crowd, no one to find, hire the streakers.
This
Just
is a
one
good
or two,
idea.
Bang, Channel 9.
Woody Holmgood. He's very good at that. He's
Who else?
very good.
Who else would you suggest
there's
does
the
that?
pest from Newcastle. What was his name?
Oh, Peter Hall.
Peter Hall.
Peter Hall.
Yeah.
But no,
Put him on payroll.
Yeah.
Here's the old thinking,
Yeah.
right? Is if a streaker ever entered the arena these days, apart from the reminders of the $5,000 fine, ... ban for a year,
To discourage.
which is I generally most streakers, because they're so bored, says it's worth making the protest to get banned
Hello.
because I'm not coming
coming
back.
back.
But
So they're the canary in the coal mine.
that's correct. You know, they're the forward thinkers. But what Volanders has detected here is in the old model, don't show the streaker to discourage people from doing it.
Would you give them publicity?
But in the new model,
Yeah.
right, with
Yeah.
with an empty arena bar the sex dolls,
Yeah.
you may as well cover the streakers extensively,
Yeah.
and you may as well get them, as opposed to Waddy or Peter, worthwhile looking
Well,
at.
imagine the rise that Rabs would get. Whoa, streaker! You know, I didn't expect that to happen. No,
Streaker
probably
cam.
did,
I wonder if Peter Volandis was at the game last year. There was a game at the SCG between the Roosters and someone. It was a pretty dull game. But
Could have been anyone
It could
of
have been
them.
anyone.
Yeah.
And, empty crowd, and the DJ was so loud and deaf. I
Rose.
actually was getting texts
Rose.
from people saying, this is too loud, turn him down.
Yeah.
And at the end of the game, there was some presentations. And then people on the field, players, and this guy's just run from the south end. He's jumped the fence, run through the goalposts, up the whole field, through the other goalpost, run around, and walked off the field. No security.
They were bored.
Yeah.
No, nothing.
Yeah.
There's just absolutely
They
nothing happened.
introduced last year, to the credit of the NRL, that a lot of kiddies in the big games or the suburban games were allowed on the field at the end after the 10-minute siren goes off.
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
On the field.
yes.
Sometimes they break curfew. They know it's coming, so they jump the fence, and before you know it, get the players off the field quick.
You can do that any
Really?
game at Henson Park, I hasten to point out. But look, they keep bringing technology into the game. Everyone was rhapsodising, though it turns out we're actually bored to tears about...
So I've been
Yes.
told. Yes.
Well, Stephen, I wanted to talk to you about your playlist, and this may not be the time.
Yeah.
But they introduced corner post cam last year, right?
Yep.
Right. Now, streaker cam, where would you actually attach the GoPro?
Yes.
They'd
Some
need
sort
a
of harness,
They'd
you're
need a
thinking.
selfie stick
Well,
in front of them.
I'm sort of thinking around the midsection you might be able to sort of
No.
tie on or
Yeah,
attach it, and you get a little bit of bounce.
Yes.
Matt
could be-
Shervington style.
Exactly right.
Well, the 12th man had one of those, was it a scrotometer?
That's right.
To determine
Scrotometer.
the amount of humidity, I think, in
Correct.
the scrotum region.
Yeah.
Something similar.
Yeah, I mean,
You'd probably use the Fox cam, whatever it's called, the Fox Bat or the Flying Fox.
Flying Fox,
You'd
yeah.
have that in front of them. So you'd
Because
be able to
you
see
can
the full
pixelate when you need
Shervington.
to, can't you? The genius is in the tech.
Well, the entertainment would be that you don't.
It's not.
You pretend that.
Oops.
Oh no,
We
the
tried to get it, we
pixelation
couldn't
went
get it.
wrong.
there's your answer: is bring some sex back into rugby league, because I grew up in a time where Sex and Sin got eyeballs on TVs.
Yeah.
Number 96, the box. ...
course, yes.
We've gone through this puritanical era.
Yeah.
Now they've got to find ways, and that's why they scrapped the old NRL out of getting people back watching the game.
Yeah.
Sex and Sin.
Well, we've
it's
already
Channel
gone-
9 staple.
We've taken a few steps with the Delta doll, the Guy Sebastian doll, the Boy George doll, the Kelly Rollin. That's a good start.
Yeah, I think it all fits.
And as you said, maybe for the fans, a few fat bearded guys with beer in their hand dolls, just something to sort of make them feel at home, so
Yeah,
it's not all
yep,
just
yep.
glamorous looking TV stars, I'm thinking, who's the master of entertainment in this country? Who is the best salesman we've got on the world stage when it comes?
Hoax?
He's a grumpy old bugger.
Ian Turpey's not with us anymore, is he?
Ian Turpey. Yeah, okay.
No.
I'm thinking...
No, I know who you're talking about.
Baz
You're talking
Luhrmann.
about. Oh, sorry, I was going to say Osher Ginsberg, but I obviously got it wrong.
No, Baz, on the big stage, come on. Moulin Rouge, come on. Dare I ask him, is there a greater film for entertainment?
There are
Chris?
some good high-kicking rugby league players as
Yeah.
well. He'd be right over
F.
those.
Scott Fitzgerald, if he can do it for the Yanks, why can't he do it for Australia? And he's in town, right?
Correct.
He's
Is
on
he
hold.
locked down in town?
Well, he's in the country somewhere. Lockdown in Queensland. There's your problem.
Anastasia.
She's starting the state battle early, isn't
Can
she?
you believe that the quality of our entertainment in rugby league in resumption day and thereon is going to be materially affected by Anastasia Palaszczuk not allowing Baz Luhrmann in to cross the border?
And this is really all about Brad Fiddler. It's one-on-one,
Oh,
isn't
they
it?
do wonder. Maybe Anastasia's gone, Baz,
Yeah.
you're here.
Just
you're,
for
you're at
Queensland.
Lang Park.
Just
you're at
for
Lang Park.
Queensland. Yeah,
and have you had your flu shot, Baz?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
if not, you're gone. But you're
So-
not going down there. That's going to be up to Freddie Fittler.
What's the
Freddie-
film? What's the film? What's the subject of the film he's doing at the moment, Dennis?
I have absolutely
Elvis
no
Presley.
idea.
Of course,
Oh
everybody
yeah,
knows
no,
the
I
whole
did
world
know that.
knows that.
Yeah, I did know
so
that.
I make
Yeah.
it Elvis year, right? It's all Elvis. The referees come out in the flared suits and the
What, sideburns?
Yeah,
There is nothing more. Where do they go for the Elvis Festival? Where is that held?
Tamworth.
Parks.
Parks,
of course,
right.
Tamworth
Right.
Country, yeah.
So take that talent, repurpose it,
yes,
COVID-19 style,
put the two together.
to provide the entertainment in rugby league.
Yeah.
By the way, I've enjoyed some Baz Luhrmann movies, but the Moulin Rouge was not one of
Oh,
them.
one of them, right?
and just theme the whole thing. And of course, this whole pandemic, as far as the world started, it goes into PTH and ATH, which is
Hey.
pre and after Tom Hanks, right? Hanks goes down. He's playing Colonel Tom Parker.
Yes.
Come grand final day, what about the Black Hawk? Because I know
Yes.
you love a Black
I love
Hawk.
Black Hawk. Give me the Black Hawk.
It descends
PBL.
onto the SCG, which,
Yeah.
well, it is going to be Lang Park because Anastasia's going to get away.
Yeah, she's going to get the dough.
And there will
Well, because
be,
Baz Luhrmann's not allowed out of
yeah,
Queensland.
as the trophy arrives, there will be Tom Hanks dressed as Colonel Tom Parker.
with a big hat and cigar.
And so influential as Land is at changing the spirit and the nature and the attitude of this game. When you look closely at the trophy, sadly, because of events of the past week, it'll have Styx Proven on it.
Yes.
And Elvis Presley in the place of the dearly departed Arthur
A
Summers.
little version of Elvis.
And it will be
Yes.
Will it be a
If-
bottom
the
head?
Proven Presley trophy.
Can you change the words from Viva Las Vegas to something about rugby league grand final?
Viva Bris Vegas, like bang,
Bris
it's
Vegas,
straight
there
up
you
there.
go.
Viva Bris
Las
Vegas.
Okay. And
Anastasia will be all over. Anastasia's a huge Elvis fan.
and he's great friends with Hugh Jackman.
Huge.
Yeah, Nicole Kidman. You roped them in somewhere during the rugby
Sorry,
league.
Elvis is?
Not the grand final. I'm talking about sprinkled through the year.
Oh, yeah.
So Nicole Kidman comes out.
Nicole Kidman dolls, maybe.
Dolls. There's another
Dolls.
one.
Keith
Yeah.
Urban.
But
Like
live
you
performing,
bring
Urban
Keithy
performs,
in.
yeah.
If you have a Keith Urban doll.
Russell Crowe could do Gladiator Day.
Oh, you're not entertained,
Hey.
you could say.
Hey.
You could have a whole lot of rusty dolls around.
Didn't the Romans have a theme about entertainment concept?
Bread and circus.
Bread and circus. That's right.
And if you could guarantee Keith Urban doing some later period Elvis, like Way Down, Moody Blue.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. I would suggest, too, with the problem with referees, which we'll get to in a minute, that the refs could be trained by Cirque du Soleil.
Gee, I hope not.
I've always had this fantasy. I've always
Can you
had this
imagine Gavin
fantasy
Badger, they do it
of
for
the referees. They do the warm-ups with the players,
Yes.
and they're doing the sprint warm-ups, and they're doing the karaoke's and the adductor stretches and everything. I thought, wouldn't it be great? Because I always had the 5. Now they're only going to be 4 now because you'd have a ref, the 2 touchies, and you got a spare. They'll always carry a spare. Just in case one breaks.
Hang on. Sorry, Dennis. Sideline officials.
Sideline officials.
Touchies?
Yep.
Touchies.
No.
Yep, no
Sorry.
touching, no touching. Sideline officials, sideline officiators, professional rugby league sideline officiators. But what I've thought, why don't you just put an extra one out there in the pink and black stripes or in the uniform, who's from the New South Wales Institute of Sport gymnast, and as he's warming up, just have him run and do 10
Now,
layouts
you
and a
can't tell
somersault.
me, Dennis, you haven't seen the entertainment where they pretend that there's a cleaner on the field who turns into
exactly.
the breakdancing gymnast.
Yes.
And do you remember where that all started?
No.
Closing ceremony, Sydney Olympics 2000. The guys out there on the field, and all the people were going, oh my God, we got through the Kathy thing, and the whole thing has been fantastic.
Some clown out
and right at the last minute, we've stuffed it up. And of course, it was a comedy routine.
Joke.
By the way, can I just simply take the opportunity before we go to a break?
How much is break wind?
Southman. It's simply that. Can I just simply say that I do not regard Cirque du Soleil as circus in any way, shape, or form?
You've been noted.
No, it's not a circus.
Because the thing about circuses, as I understand
Yes.
them, and the same reason we go to air shows, let's be honest, you don't go to the air show to see the technology, see the pageantry.
See the accident.
Crash.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the thing about circuses is you hope the trapeze artists survive,
Well,
but they may not.
They might not.
Yeah, and they're all on wires at Cirque du Soleil, and it's con European rock music, and it's a con and a waste of your time and money, and it's guaranteed
All
for
right,
this year's
we'll
grand
put back on
final.
the Cirque du Soleil. If it's going to be Barnum and Bailey, and if PVL is Barnum, who's Bailey in this whole circus?
Well, it's a struck. Well,
Abdo.
oh, I know. I think it's a struck match between Palisade and Fittler, and they'll be jockeying for
We won't know
position.
for many weeks now.
Wow. Can you imagine if there's like rugby league's about redemption as well as resumption, but imagine the redemption. Imagine, the new trophy is the Palaszczuk Fittler trophy, and Freddie's up there, and Anastasia's there saying, thanks, you've got me
Have
the
you
votes.
noticed repurposed, rebooted, resumption?
Redemption.
Redemption.
Renew, revival.
Renew, revive,
You know-
refresh.
Yeah,
It's
it
all
should be
Just
redemption.
Redemption.
But it's a good idea. I mean,
Rugby league.
I mean,
Rugby league.
we're very sad, particularly Western Suburbs people, as I am, because of the merger, to have lost the great Arthur Summons. But you're probably right. I don't think they will
He's
change.
still talking about he was dudded even up
Well,
there.
he was dudded.
Darcy Lawler dudded him.
Darcy Lawler
Dragons shouldn't have got
on the take.
Brown paper bag
I mean,
on the Dragons.
Give it a rest, Arthur.
The 63 St George team should finally just make peace before they have to meet their maker and
Now
say,
that's-
here is the trophy.
That's what I call bread and circuses, when you've got a team that win 11 years in a row. Have I ever told you that before?
Oh, Jesus. Never
Well,
before. Never
but
again.
there is, of course, an asterisk. But
But if we just, because
63.
Stephen and I have been known to try and get a cheap laugh out of reproducing the Proven Summons trophy, reproducing. Palaszczuk and Fittler embracing Proven Summons style. What a great
Moment.
indicator
Great
that we're
image.
coming out of this
That's your
pandemic.
state of origin, surely.
That's your state of
Yeah,
origin
there you
right
go.
there.
Quite Australians. We'll be back in just a moment.
And now it's time for the latest instalment of The Life and Times of Gus Gould.
The other measure that people just don't realise is the jersey, is the tightness of the jersey, the way that ours that beat. There is no grip. Normally, if you grabbed hold of a big bloke and half missed him, you could get a handful of jersey and slow him down a little bit, and that could help you roll him over or do whatever. Now there's nowhere to grab them. It's like those jerseys are painted on. So you've got to be trained to use levers, to use their elbows, to use their shoulders, to use their wrists, to use parts of their body to manipulate them and control them in the tackle, which is why they need expert tuition in wrestling.
And that was the latest instalment of The Life and Times of Gus Gould.
The Quiet Australians have got their say, their time in the sun, and when it comes to Quiet Australians, no Australian quieter than a referee, unless they're yakking on that bloody microphone. You can hear them all through a game.
or unless they're saying, I know Cameron.
I know Cameron.
Yeah, thanks, Cameron. I understand, Cameron.
My suggestion would be just to quieten up a little bit, and if there's one less, all the better.
Well, they're going to be 50% quieter
Great.
straight away.
Great.
Because of
But they've still got
Overlord
people
Volandis.
on their headphones, haven't they?
Well, this is the thing. So obviously you're referring to the fact that Volandis has come in, and this was the thin end of the wedge, literally, and saying, we're going to go back to one referee, not because the fans want it,
No.
not because the game's not entertaining, but
We
to
know
save
this.
money, right? That was a Trojan horse.
PVL, save your time. Don't waste your time. We don't believe you. Do what you want.
I think it's been budgeted. In fact, it only saves $20 a minute, which is what, $1,600 a game.
They kept
It's nothing.
saying 4 million, 1 million, half a
Yeah,
million.
I know.
Like, what the hell?
Anyway, once he's got him in there, he's now opened up the entertaining argument we've had before. But in relation to the referees specifically, it sounds simple, but you've got your two sideline officials.
Yes.
You've got your near one policing the ruck by able to get back on the field, old school style.
If you're going to go old school, I prefer
Bengal
touchy,
Lancer.
thanks.
Yeah.
So is he allowed to come on?
Yes, he can actually
Allowed
come
to
on.
like the dobbers are allowed to come running in.
But
Groundbreaking, Dennis. It's progressive.
to have a comment on the ruck,
Yeah.
the far touchy, the 10 metres, but the single ref, whoever he or she might be, and it may not
Also-
be the 22 full-time refs that we love, they're mic'd up,
Yeah.
and they've got a new position in the bunker.
It used to be Kerry Packer, remember?
That's
And
right.
then Rupert Murdoch.
That's right. and I think the first round, or at least the first two rounds, so they've only announced the draw for 2 rounds, this new position will, of course, be the Overlord himself. And you know what they're calling him?
Tell me.
A ruck spotter.
A ruck spot. Now, I guarantee you they'll never release the ruck spotter's name, address and phone
No.
number or email. And secondly, in the argument for transparency, what team does he go for? That's what I want to know. I bet he's a Melbourne supporter or a South supporter or a Chook supporter.
Volandis, no, he's a Steelers supporter of Volandis, surely.
Well, you'd think...
He'd be the ruck spotter, wouldn't he?
Yeah,
He doesn't.
but
He
see,
doesn't like to
Dennis,
delegate.
pull it back a little bit. He grew up as an age St George supporter. Illawarra had hardly made a dent. We're talking 80 watt. Come on
okay.
now. Come
Okay.
on.
When you merged and you found yourself in a grand
The
final...
Dragons merge, even though they had this great history.
That's
they had
right.
to
Yeah, I know.
merge and subvert.
That's right.
Geez,
When you merged and you found yourself in the grand final
Start, Dennis.
fairly quickly...
I'll tell you all about the history of this. You know the Swans, right? Can I tell you about the Swans, right? You know when they start
You're a big fan, aren't you?
Yeah, you know when they start because I believe that it's you've got a failed franchise from Melbourne, rebooted for Sydney, right? And it's like
Repurposed.
Sydney, rah, rah, rah. And everybody that goes for them, of course, are, blokes blow-ins from overseas, or people who don't like sport. Have you noticed that?
Oh, there's a few.
The people who like to do a bit of knitting and go, oh, my team's winning, when they do win, suddenly they've got this glorious history, and they're suddenly a Melbourne team, not a Sydney team, they're a South Melbourne team. Have you noticed how that comes out every bloody time they get in the finals? Give it a rest. Give it a rest.
The way that you know the Swans are doing good is on
my blood pressure.
On a Saturday night, you're trying to come home having, had a nice meal somewhere. And there's a traffic jam going north.
Dumpy old ladies.
Swans
Nothing
fans.
against dumpy old ladies. I love them. But,
I'm only interested in GWS because of the Swans. Because I don't like the game, but I just dislike the Swans so much.
Yes. Why do you dislike them?
I would have thought you'd dislike, because much the same that they've purloined the red and the white.
Can I just say, how important
The
is your
Tigers.
brand? How important is the brand? The colours and the logo. As a kid, it's the two most important things. The players will come and go.
Choose they choose to use orange.
I think that's inventive. That's progressive. That's creative. Silver and orange.
Charcoal.
Well,
Hey?
it's actually
The Giants we're talking about?
Yeah.
the Giants.
charcoal.
It's actually charcoal and pumpkin.
Charcoal, there you go.
Charcoal and pumpkin.
That's artistic,
are the
Dennis.
official colours.
Red and white.
I mean, no team in its right mind would choose those colours, so they had pretty virgin territory there.
There's no green in the AFL. No team has any green in their.
right?
No,
Well, you know why, Dennis?
because it's already taken by the Raiders, and that's a strong brand, and they wouldn't dare.
You've got a particular shade of green, though, Dennis.
Yes, the green of Les McIntyre's
It's not the
couch.
Australian flag green, like the sports flag.
No.
No.
It's not.
I would have thought it's because it's not easy being
It's not
green.
eucalyptus. Not easy being green.
It's not a eucalyptus
No.
green. No.
And I would have thought that if you were,
It's a
you're right,
chartreuse.
the failed South Melbourne franchise,
Bloods.
and you, whatever they are, they come to Sydney, then fine. Yeah, right. A green would be
Something that hasn't been
Dark
taken.
green.
New ground.
new ground.
I tell you, a good emerald.
Yeah, could have
green,
got purple
a jade-
before purple was
a
used.
Jade green. No one uses purple. Who would use purple? Oh.
They did.
But so you seem to be upset with the Swans' tactics of annexation and aggrandisement, Stephen. But when you found yourself in the 99 NRL Grand Final against all expectations, how many of the players had the St George background as opposed to the Illawarra background?
You seem to think this is an issue. This is not an issue. It's a non-issue. The point is that we were very happy to go, Illawarra, let's just spread our wings a bit, shall we? Very, very happy. There was no arguments there. Same colours, same logo with a little word saying Illawarra at the bottom. Same motive, same dragon.
A little
Word at the bottom.
Illawarra.
So I was
St.
more than happy
George!
to extend our region,
Yeah.
our domain. Thank
Yeah.
you very much.
Still leaving that little Cronulla weeping sore.
Yes, exactly.
Now, but it's interesting because when I arrived at Batuta today, Clancy was here.
Oh, yes.
And he said, how good is Peter V'landys? And I said, he's got something on you too, right? Because everyone is talking the praises of Peter V'landys, with the exception of the referees. Because the referees have actually taken umbrage. And Dennis, you've actually identified it's the PRLMO who's taken them on in the Fair Work Commission saying, we want our day in court because this is affecting our safety and our livelihood.
How is that, Chris?
Well,
Affecting their safety.
This is
Livelihood, yes, I get that.
This is mathematics, Stephen. There are 8 games a week.
Yeah. Oh, you mean have to work harder.
2 referees on the field. That's 16 employment positions.
Yes.
If you take it down to 1 referee,
Yeah.
8 employment positions. You're
They
following
have
the
to work
maths?
a little bit harder. Times are tough, Chris.
Anyway, V'landys says, I've got a strategy. He won't telecast it, speaking the modern vernacular, as opposed to telegraph it. But we could be looking at Canterbury Cup and Queensland Intrust Super Cup referees on resumption day next week.
I do wonder, like we were speaking before about entertainment, bringing entertainment back and getting that more. Now, everyone loves to bag the refs. It's a part of rugby league fans' DNA. I've for a long time had a fantasy of getting a Raiders jersey and writing across it official referee's advisor, so that I can, with impunity, advise the referees from the stands.
And walk on the ground.
No, in the stands.
in the stand, right.
And there should be 20,000 referees advisors in the stand advising the referees about.
Yes.
Cam
Could we
Smith
bring
flying
in that everybody
they're
gets a
onside.
button saying
Yeah.
yes or no?
That's the future.
That's a penalty, yes or no?
That's the future. Majority rules.
Fantastic.
Majority rules, yeah.
Imagine the home
And the
ground
rest
advantage.
stands there waiting.
And there's a home ground
64%
advantage.
say yes, penalty.
You've
But
got
if
it
we've got
exactly.
Canterbury Cup referees, we're going to be able to yell at them more. Verlandis is concerned the referees are going to be too correct. And we don't like that. We want mistakes. We want 1963. We're still
Yes,
talking
we're
about
still
the
talking about the
1963
referees.
final.
Exactly, entertainment.
And that's that's entertainment. And if we're going to do that, the other thing I want to throw in as well, get someone to roll the second ball on the field.
Yes, just for a joke.
Comes on.
I have a story about that. I just quickly want to say, you got it exactly right. This idea of going down to 1 official and 6 again and all this rubbish is rubbish.
Yep.
If we made it Everyone's got a button, majority rules.
And I guarantee your PVL will have an override button.
Correct.
Yeah.
But every decision will go the way of the home team.
Yeah.
The home teams will win all the games. They'll pack it out. It's a great idea.
That's true.
My two
At
balls are-
home too, on your remote control. Yes, no, green, red. You know what do you reckon? How much fun would that be?
And then
On the app.
Quick,
And-
bring the kiddies in. How many remote controls have we got?
And every time you press it, you get a targeted ad.
Yeah.
You know? 1997, the very dark days of the Super League War,
Yeah.
and there was the two competitions, and the Australian Rugby League competition, which was between 12 teams. Teams like Canberra did the wrong thing and went to Super League, but we were on the good side of things.
We're the old schoolers, right?
Yeah, Balmain, as they
faithful.
then were jockeying for 7th spot because the top 7 made the playoffs, but the one and only time.
Did they?
You had a
Out
top
of 12?
7 out of 12. You know, right? Anyway, we were towards the end of the season, a critical fixture against North Sydney, and we were clinging on, and there's about 90 seconds left, and North were awarded a penalty just inside their half,
Man,
right?
You shouldn't do that.
And I was there with two mates, one of whom, Derek.
Was it Harrigan?
Oh, gosh, I
Darryl Halligan?
couldn't tell you.
Daryl Halligan, or was it?
Oh, they mean kicker.
Yeah, the kicker.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
good luck if it's
JT
Halligan.
by then.
Yeah.
oh, Halligan playing for the Bears at that stage?
I think he might have been.
Oh, really? No. Producer
No.
Pat says no.
No.
Anyway, North are awarded a penalty, and it's not 6 again because you haven't got the option to take the penalty kick for the side, quick tap, maybe score the try because we're clinging on by about 2 points.
Yes.
Now, I was there with two mates. One of called Derek, played rugby union for New South Wales. He spent the entire game distracted by the entertainment, be they cheer girls, music, etc., paid no attention. The kick sails into the front of the grandstand where we're standing, the Latcham Robinson stand at Leichhardt Oval.
Through the post.
No, it's the kick because Norths are going to
Oh,
kick
they
it
want to
out.
kick it, yeah, go
quick
for the tap,
restart,
just
need
go.
to score to try to win the
Gotcha.
game.
Okay.
Derek takes a beautiful catch of the football,
Yeah.
and as Norths run for the quick tap, picks that moment to boot it back onto the field, and the ball lands right in the middle of the ruck.
Yeah.
And the referee goes, 2 balls on the field. Balmain sets its defence. Norths have lost momentum. 1 tackle, we win the game. The guy who was least interested in what was going on the
Had the
field had
biggest
the
impact.
biggest influence.
Wow.
You've got forget changing refs and whatever. Volandis, you want to win this game. You want to win this battle. Get the crowd involved. Stephen Ferris style interactive. Can I just tell you?
Cam Smith does that as well, though, because there was a game at Parramatta where Cam was copying it. There's 2 gentlemen
Yes,
giving Cam
I remember that.
stream of abuse, and Cam has a penalty to kick for touch. And could he kick to the south end to which they were running, or should he kick it backwards and at these pricks? and Cooper Cronk comes over and goes, "Don't do it.
Don't even
We need
think
to
it.
get round. Yeah, we're only 67 points ahead, and there's a minute to go. So maybe we, need this." And Cam's like, "No, I'm going to do it." Turns around and kicks, doesn't smack it at them, just lobs it. And this enormous Parramatta fan just catches the ball and goes,
What was that?
What do I do?
Now I'm a star.
What do I do?
Crowd interaction.
Cam's got it.
This blinding pace, by the way, that Volandis has taken.
You
on
might think it's
referees-
blinding. I think it's Back to the Future, right?
All right.
He's just rolling the clock back.
But-
He's going to bring in the scrum.
Well,
The contestable scrum.
And,
And-
scrum,
Yeah.
kicking out in the ruck.
Hello.
And-
Kick for the
And a little bit
ball.
of biff will be allowed, just because that's really entertaining.
innovations like markers not square and incorrect play.
I
I mean, this is
know.
not new, but
And tap and go penalties. Oh, come on.
So
But he-
they're going to actually enforce the rules that exist.
correct. but the overriding thing, and there was media about this during the week, is he abides by Peter's Law, which he found on a poster in New
Oh,
Orleans.
tell us, Chris.
Peter's Law goes this way, albeit not written by the Overlord himself. Do it by the book, but be the author. The best way to predict the future is to create it yourself. If you can't win, change the rules. If you can't change the rules, ignore them.
That sounds like Adolf Hitler.
Very much so.
Very much so.
Every despot, both in history and in fiction.
I
Genghis
write the book
Khan,
and therefore I'll follow my own book.
Mussolini, Stalin,
Stalin, yeah, exactly.
Volandis.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
perfect through line. And it is so persuasive, and I want to leave you on this point, Dennis, and get your reaction to this. Sticky Stewart, one of the coaches, has spoken up and
One of
says...
the coaches.
And,
One of the
yeah,
the
coaches,
greatest
the Canberra
coach, the
Raiders.
greatest thinker.
Yeah, Carlos Smith and Angry Ant, ...
That's it.
He has spoken up and he says, I'm opposed to these changes, but I fully support them because of Peter Volandis, because the game would be boring without them. And he says coaches will never have the good of the game as their first priority.
Can't trust a coach.
So much self-loathing there, Enrique.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on him with it.
Isn't it beautiful, though? But it is beautiful. That's how much he loves the game, that he hates it, and yet he loves it. He loves it Because of his hate.
That's superb.
Now, can I just say we've got now like roughly about sort of 7 days to go, 8 days to go before resumption day.
9.
8?
9.
9. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. 9. It is to that. I would suggest to you that there could be that last little bit that flying in the ointment, the sand in the oil. That could be this referees thing when in the week and a half that Jack Mundy died, the man who stood up and avowed communist and said, I'm going to save parts of what I believe in and what I love and what you will love in future generations. Is this going to happen?
The Unionists. The Unionists.
I spoke to Jack Mundy once when I was working at the council. And
Now,
I felt really excited.
And did he say, thank you, everything I've learned?
He slapped a green band on me.
Did he just?
Well, it's so unusual to see industrial relations encroach on rugby league.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also so unusual to find out the refs actually had a union.
But you mentioned a dictatorship and communism coming together.
Well, it's...
Bam, fireworks.
Who's
going to win that one?
It's Hegel's dialectic writ large.
Writ large, okay, that's the quiet Australian.
You're right.
We'll come back in just a moment.
Now things are getting a bit fired up.
Representing the Quiet Australians, this is Fire Up. Dennis Carnahan.
Yes.
Chris Gale.
Hello.
Myself, Stephen Ferris. We are here. No music today from Dennis. Dennis, you've got hitting a dry patch, are we?
No, it's
Writer's block, is it?
industrial action. I'm out with the refs. Like until they make it clear how many refs is going to be, and that it's sorted out.
Until Baz Luhrmann's back in the game.
I'm on strike.
Well, also, you were, again, magnificent on Fox League Live last week, Dennis.
Magnificent.
In that Kenty seemed completely on board with you, which has been a really, really difficult thing. But Yvonne mentioned that this could be your last hurrah this Friday if rugby league comes back. So I guess you're sort of saving up the good stuff for them again.
No, they set me a challenge this week.
Oh, yeah, so the Johnny Cash challenge?
I had to do a Johnny Cash. I wrote it that night. I've already written it. So there's not a problem.
Can I guess that, in fact, it's a song based on Johnny Cash's cover of Nine Inch Nails' Hurt? Is that right, or have I got that wrong?
No.
And on that note, I need to say to you, he polarises people. Bono's put out, giving his turn 60, his 60 most influential songs on him as a person.
Oh, God.
And, of course, Johnny Cash's Hurt was in there. And
Sure.
he writes a dear to the living relative of the artist, so to the daughter or son or wife or whatever, a state holder, and yours as fan Bono, and it's overblown as you'd expect.
Oh, I reckon...
Is he doing this pro bono?
Of course, he's rich enough to do what he wants.
Please.
Now, doesn't care. Yeah.
I reckon I could have a crack. I won't now, but I'll guarantee you Teenage Kicks by the Undertones will be on there.
Could have been.
Yeah.
There's a lot of English alt pop. He puts, I think, Anarchy in the UK number one.
Yep. I would
Patti
say
Smith's in there.
London Calling,
Stones
The
are in
Clash will be there.
Life on Mars is there.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. It's nothing groundbreaking.
He's got Andrea Bocelli though, which is interesting.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's funny. I've been going through some old CDs and vinyl, and I put on War the other day, and gee, it was a good album.
Yeah.
Down the hill after that one.
Now,
anyway.
we've forgotten to talk about the players in rugby league. And listen, the soap opera has been running full steam. I just can't get enough of Nathan Cleary. I cannot get enough of Chanel Wright.
Cartwright.
Get it right.
Chanel,
Cartwright
the burning
and Bryce
map.
Cartwright.
The new burning
and
map.
Cooper Cronk, just as a side issue. Now, if we could just pull these apart, Nathan Cleary, layer upon layer upon layer upon layer. Where do we start?
Did you say layer or lie? Lie upon lie upon lie upon lie upon lie. It's fantastic.
Nathan, he had the look of the all-Australian boy with a big jaw, didn't he?
He did, and he's like
Australian man.
like an onion of lies. He confesses, okay, I'll pull this. Oh, there's another confession. Oh, I'll pull this layer off. Oh,
and the
there's another
funniest
one.
man in rugby league, Paul Kent's had a few things to say.
He has.
Hasn't he,
The clown, the comedian.
Rodney Dangerfield of rugby league.
I get no respect. No respect. What's that Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield?
Take my wife.
Fantastic film. I think in that film, he's gets a bad mark because he's got someone else to write his essay, and the essay was on Kurt Vonnegut, and then he goes and he hands it back to Kurt Vonnegut and says, "You got a fail mark on your own book." It's absolutely fantastic.
And let's not talk about Caddyshack right now.
Well,
we know for hours here.
Terrific stuff. But the Nathan Cleary issue, where it's lie upon lie upon lie.
Yes.
Still, Gus Gould and the like haven't got what they wanted, which was a seasoned band. He's still playing. And what's his name? Barilaro, hasn't he dropped off the media landscape? So I think the latest thing is more money in 2 games. And Tyrone May, your mate, has also got 2 games.
I do wonder with Nathan, like you look at his dad, the Russian, and I wonder if there's a little bit of Pinocchio going on, and each time he tells a lie, the chin gets bigger.
Yes, the chin, that's right. Yeah.
And that might explain it.
Yeah. Wasn't there a famous cartoon with a great big jaw?
Popeye?
No, more modern one. Anyway,
Dick
but
Tracy.
Isn't it true, though, in the modern storytelling, you can't just have one series, you've got to have 3 series.
Right.
And Nathan understands this.
This is right.
That's right.
It's a triptych.
You need to have the little clanger at the end of each episode, so you go, what's going to happen next? You know?
So we finally
and the big
now
clanger at the end of the series.
in the third act see who his character is. And his third act was, he originally said he was just there, didn't know there was a camera. All right. Then the TikTok videos came and he told the story about the young ladies having dropped in on his
How many
home.
young ladies?
Well, 6, I think.
6, I think. Right.
5 or 6.
Yeah. But it now emerges that he, in fact, picked up the young ladies and brought them back to his house.
Because he was not getting paid by rugby league?
Well, he's bored. Because, let's face it, rugby league's not entertaining.
Right.
And so even though he's now still being mentioned in dispatches as a future leader of the New South Wales Blues, and if we win the Origin Series Australia, Nathan's reputation isn't great. I thought what James Tarmo had to say was fantastic. He goes, when I first saw the photo, I go, that can't be Nathan. He's not that type of kid. And you go, you are looking at the photo, right? I mean, that can only be Nathan. Yeah. And it is, of all people, Paul Kent, who I think is...
The humanist.
Yes.
Yes.
The most sympathetic of us all, who understands...
What did he say, Chris?
Because he's not only played the game, he writes about the game, is Nathan in the end just wasn't strong enough to say no.
And who amongst us, Chris? Glass
Presented
houses,
with the opportunity.
Stones. It's biblical. You know,
Presented with the
and I think
opportunity.
he's speaking as a man with a few flaws. Correct?
Kenny or Nathan?
It's very Roman Catholic, that, you know.
If Kenty was presented with 5 nubiles, and they've been using the word nubiles a lot.
Yes or no.
Kenty, do you have the strength?
That's where the fans come in with the button. Go, no. Don't do it, Kenny.
Do we understand Nathan's position? 98%? Yes.
Now, look, I noticed that, I tell you what, in the soap opera rugby league, Chanel Cartwright has got a fair run, hasn't she? And a fair hammering as well, I should say. Not to mention Tay-Tay, is it, or Tay-Tay?
Taylor Winterstone?
Yes.
Yeah, Tay-Tay Winterstone, yeah.
Tay-Tay, yeah. Now, there has been an industry we've seen, and we don't understand this industry, but influencers, Chris, Dennis, you know, and particularly those that want to encourage products, you know, fashion, hair, makeup, cosmetics, bikinis.
Not travel.
No bikinis.
Well,
you know, to other young ladies and young men who like to look, right?
There's no magazines. There used to be magazines,
Exactly.
Women's Weekly,
They're
Women's Day,
floundering.
Cleo's, all these things. They've disappeared.
It's all dried up.
And so it's now become influencers and influencers and anti-vaxxers.
And that's an interesting sort of wagon to hitch yourself to, isn't it?
Wag.
The
A
anti-vax
wagon.
as an influencer, you know?
Well, you know, this is the thing. By the way, Harper's Bazaar shut down the other day. I know you're all upset about that.
Women's Weekly's not teetering?
NW's on ice.
Bring back Ida.
But look at it
Kerry
this way.
would be turning, wouldn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, and I speak for myself here, I find that people have no discernible talent take up things like photography and DJing, right?
Yes.
But
Me too.
But those positions have been filled, right? So I've got no discernible talent except for the fact that I'm attached to someone with a profile, a la Winterstein and Cartwright, right?
Are you also not saying that she's an attractive lady to look at?
I don't think it comes into the equation.
Does
sir.
it not?
No, but I think it helps if
I
you
haven't
want to
looked
be
at her site.
If you want to be an influencer, it doesn't hurt.
Better be a Kardashian rather than a
It exactly doesn't hurt, right?
You know.
If you've got no discernible talent, and if for example, if you said, you know what, I'm going to start up a self-help site, a wellness site, where I'll go out on Instagram and I'll encourage people to look after themselves, and here's my pitch: everybody get vaccinated. No one's going to buy into that, right? No one's interested in that.
No traction,
right?
Yeah.
But if I
Well, how many stories has Paul Kent written about an NRL player who is self-isolating, who's sitting at home, who's cooking healthy food, who's working out,
Not
and who
many.
is
Not many.
there's got to be 600 of the buggers who are doing that, and not one of them has a story about them. Who has? Nathan
exactly
Cleary.
Bryce, and even
Nathan.
poor old the forgotten Brian Kelly. To say nothing of Nathan Peake.
because he backed down and took a shot.
So if I want to charge $200 an hour for my wellness seminars and my Insta stories, I've got to find a point of difference.
Yes.
Anti-vaxxing just jumps out because you know what the anti-vaxxers are? They're pro-choice.
They're pro-choice.
And they're doing something for their kids.
Pro-health.
They're rejecting the medical establishment. And can I say big pharma?
Big farmer, big brother.
And as Bryce Cartwright and his wife Chanel points out, look at our kids.
Look at
They're
that.
fine.
They look great.
They are fantastic.
No coughs, no colds, no sniffles, no nothing.
And what's beautiful and poetic about this is that how did Bryce get away with it? By getting some dodgy doctor to write a certificate.
well,
He didn't
saying-
come up with that at the beginning, though, did he?
No,
There's
he
a reason
didn't.
for that.
He did.
Because if he just said, I can't get the shot because
I have an allergic reaction.
I have an allergic reaction, there's no ability for
no-
the pro-choice argument to get ventilated. It has been so
So you're
powerfully.
saying no oxygen for Chanel?
No oxygen for Chanel. So Bryce did the right thing, because if the future of the game, if your salary, your teammate's salary, the related salaries, the entertainment product, the vast machine of rugby league is up against the missus, who's going to win?
The missus.
Every
100%
time.
of the
Did you
time.
check the doctor's note, though? It said, the dog ate my breakfast. Did you read it in small print?
Has it been, has
I
it
had
been
the
an
flu shot
investigation?
yesterday. I had it.
I had it last week.
Yeah, so I feel like I can watch rugby league.
It hasn't happened. I had it
looking
on
good,
Wednesday. The Wednesday before I was saying, hit me with a flu shot.
Yeah, I had it too a couple of weeks ago.
I have it every year.
Now,
I always have. Why not?
In the big picture, there's nobody more glamorous. There's nobody that an influencer wants more on their site than Cooper Cronk.
Oh, that's for
I mean,
sure.
just the name alone, Cooper Cronk. We know that he was Mr. Australia. He
It's
was
still devastating that CooperCronk.com has gone. Some of the
He was a
poetry up
Superman.
there.
Superman.
He still is.
Still is a Superman.
He was Mr. Australia?
Mr. Australia. I
Is
think
that
he
still
was
going?
Yeah.
I always just think Mr. Australia was like Paul Graham, the strong guy who wrestled crocodiles.
Oh,
But
no, this
this
is
like Uber. This is
No,
overall
you know, I think it's
spirituality.
been-
metrosexual.
I think he's been superseded by Gus Worland.
All right.
Haven't we all?
Look, can I just say, on this, as in all matters, I defer to Gus Worland.
Exactly. All right. So Cooper Cronk, what the hell is he up to? Because I thought he was doing some work for the other side, the Evil Empire, the AFL, the Giants.
Which is what
wasn't he?
they're all going there. Billy Slater's coaching down there. He's coaching how to jump and
No, I
kick
think too
people in
much
the
time in
face.
Melbourne has done that.
It is. It's
Eh?
polluted them. It's-
As Slater is to St Kilda, so Cooper is to the GWS Giants, the pumpkin and charcoal guys.
The pumpkin
But,
and charcoal.
but under these social
It's their official
distancing,
colours.
under these social distancing restrictions that we're under, you're only allowed 25 staff in an AFL team, which seems about 25 too many for mine.
yeah.
Just give him a ball.
And let's face it, Cooper's more than one man.
Well, he didn't make the cut.
Right.
And the coaching cabal at GWS has lamented this because they said, we've lost his brain power. Which makes sense because
Yes,
he would
it
know
does.
nothing about the game.
No.
Anyway.
So it's something. It's motivational.
Right, so here's Cooper. It's got nothing to do. It's Australian Volunteers Week, and salute all those volunteers.
Yes.
He's put his hand up and he said, I'm prepared to coast the fledgling Roosters halves, Kyle Flanagan, I should say, and Sam Walker. Forget this, nothing.
Nothing.
Well, didn't he play for the Roosters for nothing? That's how he got under the salary cap.
Well, I'll tell you what he does play, and that's golf with Nick Politis, which has remained legal during the pandemic.
The
And if you
famous
don't think
bad
this has
golfer.
got Overlord Volander's fingerprints all over it, racing kept going, rugby league is back before anything else in Australia, and golf kept going.
Hang on. Where's Politis from again?
Kithra?
Kithera. Where's PVL from? Kithera.
Kithra.
Well.
Goodness.
So, and he actually turned down golf with the Greek mafia.
To be honest, it's great to see the Greek people
Love the Greek
coming
people.
back because they used to run the,
I love
the joint.
Masaka. Do you love Masaka?
Yeah,
I love
so-
it.
Oh, I love it. I tell you, give me a
I don't think he's
spanakopita.
I don't
How good's a
think-
spanakopita?
I don't think Cooper's turned down a game of golf with the Greek mafia. I think he's had a game of golf with the Greek mafia, and they've just gone.
And he's taken a rain check.
Yeah, well,
Oh, no,
how much on this putt? I've missed it.
The Greek mafia I went to school with in Canberra, they have turned history because traditionally the Romans stole history off the Greeks.
Yes, of
And
course.
so the Greeks
And the
they've
Nazis stole it off the Romans.
They've all gone and opened a whole lot of Italian restaurants in Canberra and made a fortune for themselves.
Really? Where is the Italian section in
I
Canberra?
tell you what,
It's everywhere. Well,
Because I
Monica.
desperately need to find some life in that. joint.
There's no-
Let's go to Bellucci's.
being
Go to
original-
Bellucci's in Monica.
being the first and the original doesn't always
Or
pay
in
off,
Woden.
does it? Someone takes your idea, runs with it, you're gone, you're forgotten.
Yes.
The Greeks, look
Yeah.
at them. They're broke.
Yeah. I
They
mean,
did open the Acropolis this week, though.
Did you see Roy and HG on the Acropolis? Did you see Roy and HG on Australian Story last night?
Oh, I did.
Taken our act, lock, stock, and barrel.
Have they really? Those rotten
and
buggers.
a little bit, as they used to say, what Gary Newman did to Ultravox,
Yes.
they've done to us.
Yes. No, I applaud. That was a great show last night. It
was-
could have been longer than half an hour.
Oh, absolutely. It was inspirational.
Yeah,
stuff.
and I do believe that it doesn't even capture the essence of what they really do. You need 4 hours on Triple J, Saturday hours.
All you need is 2 hours midday on ABC Radio.
Bloody
They're on now.
right.
They're still on. And,
I know that. I'm just telling
and
you.
they haven't lost anything.
No, I'm
They
telling
are-
you, the longer they've got, the more they marinate, the more they go deeper and lay it, and you go, what is going on?
And then the
in
longer the
world?
weeks go on as
Yes.
well.
It's really inspiring because people have been saying to me that we've been a bit off the boil this year. So
We have indeed. That bloody virus hasn't done us any good at all. Quite Australia will be back in just a moment to enliven the place a little bit.
Rightio, we ready to fire up? I think we are.
The Quiet Australian just got sexier. A little reference to South Korea making a mistake with the dolls. We spread the word. The whole world's going to take it up. We've just had notice that every sporting code is rushing forward. That old laggard AFL, they thought, you beauty, this is a fantastic idea. That'll get the crowds on telly at least, So,
It's going to take more than a sex doll to save AFL. I can tell
but
you
you,
that.
Chris, are across sport
Yeah.
around the world. You too, Dennis. I don't really look. I haven't seen the Michael Jordan documentary. I don't know how valuable his original sketch, shoes are.
I think a pair of his rookie shoes just went for $900,000.
Is that all?
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. But you've been following the Baltimore Raiders, I know, and you too, Dennis. And I believe-
Ravens or Raiders?
Ravens.
Oh well, see.
Yeah.
Get your franchises
No, I don't-
right.
You know where the Raiders are now?
No.
Las Vegas.
Wow, they're raiding
So they've
there.
been the Oakland Raiders, the Los Angeles Raiders, and now
actually
they're in
thinking-
Vegas.
I'm going to get off here. I'm going to look and see if there's shares in because Fishwick has and Mitchell's new area. They'll have some of these fans. Some of these.
Oh, do they?
I think that I'm wondering if Ricky and Andrew Barr in Canberra have actually gone and said, "Boys, can we get them all in Canberra Stadium?"
I tell you what, though.
But just to make sure the Giants don't get them at Monaco.
Yeah.
Is your stadium being rebuilt? Did I hear that?
No, it's possible. Andrew Barr has gone. Yeah, let's just hang off a second because of the coronavirus. They have got the Canberra Raiders are now in their new centre of excellence at what used to be
Gee, that's a death
Northbourne.
knell. There's a
at
nail
what-
on the
I
coffin.
know it's a worry. At what used to be Northbourne Oval, the home of the North's Greenies, across the road from Ainsley Infant School,
Jack Mundy again.
which I went to. I went to the school across the road from the Centre of Excellence,
Wow.
and then it became Questicon.
Questicon.
Questicon
Now,
was
that's
at
got a
Ainsley
modern ring to it.
I've been to
hasn't it?
Questicon. I was in a
You
budget.
wouldn't have been to the original Questicon.
Really?
Questicon at Ainsley Infant School
Right.
in Braddon.
Right, so I was in a budget lockup in 2010.
In jail.
No,
Budget.
2008.
Budget lockup.
Was this practicing for pandemics?
2009
Please.
budget lockup Questicon down in Canberra.
What the hell is that all about, Chris?
So when the budget comes out,
Oh, okay. Budget lockdown, right?
I thought you meant a cheap
That's what I was thinking.
lockup. They locked you away because you were trouble.
no, I was on a self-help course with Bob Ansett. Yeah, no, the federal budget,
Yeah, right, okay.
courtesy of the then industry
Well, we-
minister Kim Carr.
Oh, sorry, I was about to talk about the Baltimore Ravens,
Ravens.
but I just want to say one last thing. Who's winning the battle between Freddie Fittler and Anastasia
Oh,
Palaszczuk?
Freddie, all over it.
The Flowers win?
Oh, yeah. This is
She now
this
knows
is the victor.
it's
This is the
1-0.
victor giving the garland, saying, "Here you go."
So she closes the border for the next
Yep.
2 months. That's
Yep.
dirty and low, isn't it?
It's not over yet.
Not over
it
yet.
depends where the grand final goes.
Okay, back to Baltimore, Chris.
So, and I'll credit Andrew Webster for this.
Webby.
He reported over the weekend that the Baltimore Ravens, which is a team in the National Football League in the United States,
Okay.
a safety player whose name is Earl Thomas had a gun held to his head by his wife Nina
Yes.
after she burst into an Airbnb where Earl was having an orgy with his brother and a number of women. Right.
Form. Or not.
They're stealing our script.
I know. That of itself is interesting.
Yeah.
But what's better was Earl's response when interviewed.
Oh, yes, tell us.
His response went this way: stuff like this happens. And not in my world, Earl. But then I'm not playing football and risking my life with every tackle.
And earning $400 million a year.
Kind of puts the rugby league stories into
It's a
perspective.
shame,
I mean,
no.
Nathan Cleary, lift your game, son.
We have become a bit PC and a bit tender and sensitive, haven't we?
We have. Have we got time to talk about what we've been doing?
Oh, yeah, what have you been doing, Dennis? Let's hear from
What
you
I've been
first.
doing?
You've
I've
put
been-
everything to bed at the moment.
No, I've been sitting in the studio. I'm going back to basics and going back to the studio and writing more because I can't perform at the moment. So I'm going back and writing and going, thinking we did new directions, new starts.
What do you watch on TV?
I'm watching vicariously because I have a 19-year-old son and he has the remote. And it's just not worth it. It's
Not
not worth
the struggle.
it. So we're going through The Office. It's the American
English
Office.
American?
We've done the English. We're going through American. We're going through some
Seinfeld
Spanish.
again
some
and Cheers and bloody
Oh, they've done
Simpsons and
some Spanish show called Elite, which is about a private school. Which something happens in the town and something bad happens at the public school, so the private school takes them all on.
Desperate Times.
And then there's porn. And I don't quite know exactly.
Until that point, you weren't selling me.
I don't
But
quite get. So yeah, Spanish children are making porn.
Okay.
That's what this one's about.
Cooking?
Cooking. Oh, I'm cooking a lot. I've been cooking a lot.
What's
I'm
your best
loving.
dish? Tell us.
Oh, look, I have gone a little bit. My favourite thing is the date chocolate and chia protein balls.
it's a master,
That's
eh?
good gear.
would have been nice here.
But then,
Would have been a nice
Yeah,
idea. Good
that
gesture.
would've- I actually had some, but my son has eaten them all.
Yeah.
Hasn't he?
Yeah.
He's 19.
He's 19.
Yeah.
Oh, look, I've got
Still
some
growing,
bog.
would you say?
Oh, he's 6. Well, he's spending a bit of time, probably as much time in front of the mirror as he's in the gym.
Right, there you go, still growing.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you, Chris, so what have you been how do you fill your time?
Well, not cooking. My partner Mary Jane carries that saddle, and I just sit in it. Well, I'm working.
Wow.
Yes, been working full time. I've actually been pouring energy.
Budget locked out or lock up, whatever it's called.
In my post-Wallen career, I've been pouring my energy into when FBI puts the green light on Fire Up, better and more bright on 94.5 FM. I'm looking forward to that with my co-host Stephen Ferris. Terrific
Why wouldn't you
bloke.
go better and brighter? Why'd you go better and more bright?
Well, you know, it's an opportunity to reboot, resume, repurpose. And of course, from a media point of view, done a lot of reading, but I like a lot of TV. I actually started soft. I redid Curb Your Enthusiasm just to get myself,
That is
into
the
a
best TV thing.
comfort. And
Makes your skin crawl, doesn't it?
Oh, season 10, Spite Store, it's brilliant. But some of the things I was tipped into by my friend Stephen Ray, a sketch comedy show called I Think You Should Leave It, and I have because it's dreadful. I've got one episode left of The Last Dance. The Jordan story, of course, it's a well-made documentary. Yes, it's compromised by the fact that he's a co-producer, but you still
And there's
get...
no Luke Longley.
Yes, well, it's a long discussion, but you get a sense of who Jordan actually is, which I think achieves its purpose. And it is a fascinating story, all the things that happened to that team. I knew them all, but for most people, it's amazing.
Okay.
Chris Lilly's Lunatics, which was widely criticised, I really, really, really enjoyed.
Okay.
But I've actually gone on a bit of a deep dive. Apart from all the mainstream stuff, I've watched 8 Universal monster or horror movies.
Oh, yes.
Starting with 1931 Dracula and finishing with 1954, I think it was, or 53, the Creature from the Black Lagoon, which is the life story of Ricky Stewart. And so much I could say about these things, times against us. But did you know at the same time that they were filming Lugosi's Dracula in Universal
36.
in America, 1931,
31.
they would film on all those sets, the creepy castles, etc., They would cease filming, and then the Spanish crew would bunk in.
Oh, yes.
And they filmed a Spanish language version on exactly the
Which you
same
claim
sets
is
at the
better.
same time. It's a better, richer movie,
Right.
but Lugosi is unbelievable in his character compared to the Spanish Dracula, who feels a bit cartoonish. But the other thing that I am totally immersed in...
So Volandis wasn't in there?
No, but you certainly get an echo of Volandis. One of the weird things is in an establishing shot in Dracula's crypt is you get a close-up shot of some rats scurrying around. Makes sense. Then some armadillos. Don't know why that is. Transylvania.
Not poor old pangolins.
Yeah, I know, pangolins, right?
no.
Poor buggers.
And
Cease and desist with the wet markets, eh?
Absolutely.
and I was given a box set of 6 of the Japanese Godzilla movies from the original Showa era. I've up to the greatest hits, which is Destroy All Monsters. So I've watched the other 5,
haven't you?
and I would love to do a podcast with someone about Godzilla. It's amazing.
Have you watched on SBS the documentary on Punk?
Yes, I did.
And I started that. How does good?
I thought it was really, really good. Co-produced by Iggy Pop, and it starts episode 1 in the United States with the, if you like, the antecedents or precedents. I never know which one it is.
I would imagine they're taking an American invented punk storyline.
Not so much.
No,
They just go, this was sort of birthed in Detroit with the MC5 and the Stooges and whatever. And then bands like the Ramones were not really recognised in the United States. So the movement really got traction in London.
Malcolm McLaren.
That's right. So the second episode, which is the one, if you say you've got to watch one, because Johnny Rotten features so heavily in it, and he has...
And whilst, yes.
He's not looking in great shape.
looking great,
but he is still such
Those
a sharp...
leisure suits are beautiful.
He's such a sharp interview subject. And that covers the English scene, so you've got, the Clash and the Damned and...
Are you one of those people, having grown up through that and all the rest of it, sometimes the idea is greater than the content?
Sometimes. I'm an enormous fan of the music of those first 2 shows I was just describing.
Yeah.
What I was less familiar with the third episode focuses on what became the hardcore scene in the United States. Greg Pickover, we talked about him. Ashley Nielsen, a huge fan of X, so John Doe was interviewed. But bands like Circle Jerks, Black Flag,
You're not
Henry
talking about
Rollins.
Ian Ryland's Australian X, of course.
No, that's right. And you sort of see that, the Germs, you see that scene.
The Germs.
And then the last...
Hey, that's rugby league.
And then the last episode...
Simon Wolford
looks at where the music has sort of ended up more in the mainstream. So you've got movements like the Riot Girl movement with Bikini Kill, things like that. And then at the beginning of this century, the huge amount of records that bands coming off the back of Nirvana previously, but bands like Offspring actually sold, and Green Day, of course.
Yes.
And Green Day is kind of like the end point. Is like a very, very
Silverchair was the end point.
really well-established commercial band whose latest album, which is called Father of All Motherfuckers, is 27
nuts.
is
No, language warning.
27 minutes of Ramones-like kick him between the eyes.
Look, I love a song that comes
Circle's
in
complete.
under 2 minutes.
Yep.
Give me a song that's short any day.
90 seconds. Yeah.
Me,
Yes, Stephen, you
Well, I revisited Lodger turned 40 this week.
Yes, it
David
did.
Bowie, and it wasn't my favourite album, I've got to say. I thought it was a bit too rackety, the production. It was all competing with itself. I thought DJ was cute. There's a couple of other great songs, but not my favourite.
He was moving into that period where he was struggling a little bit creatively. So, like, for example, was it Red Sails as a noise song?
The soul had been sold.
And Sister Midnight he redid, didn't he? No, was it Sister Midnight from Iggy's album? He redid on that as a different song
On
Lodger. He's got a different name.
As a just.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
you got me there.
Yeah.
Yes, and if I could just say Resumption Day, but it's Exit Day. This particular Friday would have been the launch of Vivid this year, of which we have betted, and we had some great stuff lined up for you, which I'm not going to tell you about.
I was going to say, come on. Now you can reveal.
And it's gone from worst to shit. Like Carriage Works is now folded in administration, etc., etc. So not great times, but we are busily working for next year, of course. Long time away. But I'll be missing this week. Be excited.
Well,
I'm quiet now. I'm satisfied.
Well,
you're a quiet Australian now.
Quiet now.
We might come back in this format, but maybe then, after the first week, we might go back on the Zoom and get Brendan Cowell's reactions to the first week of football, because people seem to enjoy having him present. What do you think?
I don't like Zoom.
Can we zoom him in here? Can we just have him up there?
Yeah, just put it behind us.
We'll give it a crack.
Okay. I'm out.
You want to crack? Oh.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
'Cause I'm all fired up. I'm all fired up and lonesome. I got a chip on my shoulder. I'm acting just a little too tough.